righty, we're back again. We're going to talk a little March Madness. We are through the first two rounds, and we're going to cover what's happened in those rounds, and then maybe do a little prediction on the
Sweet 16.
On the Sweet 16 coming up. But first of all, we'll just zoom through these for pretty quick. We know that there was like 52 games, so we will.
Games.
Yeah, we won't spend a lot of. We'll talk about some of the more important ones, but we'll just sort of zoom through the rest of them. We had Southeast Missouri State and Texas A&M.
Corpus Christi.
First four, and Texas MCC got it. They beat them. They went in.
They play a ticket to Alabama.
Yes. Congratulations. We had Pitt eaching out Mississippi State 60-59.
By a point.
By one. How'd you like to lose by 1 point? I'd rather lose by 20 points than 1 point. Another one of the play-ins, we had Fairleigh Dickinson. Remember that name?
Because we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that in a second. Fairleigh Dickinson took on the Texas Southern. Fairleigh Dickinson didn't even win their conference, but they got in because the
champion was ineligible.
Yeah, so FDU did beat Texas Southern, and they get on. We had Nevada playing Arizona State. Arizona State to beat them. About 25 points there then. All right, and then those were the 4 play-in games. Then we jump into round 1. We had West Virginia, Maryland. Maryland won by 2. Another squeaker.
And that is a good win for the Terps.
And my bracket was busted because I had West Virginia. I lose on the very first game there. So we had Furman beating Virginia.
First round upset. This is what the tournament is
famous
for.
First round upset, a 13 over a 4, and hallelujah, here we go. It's on. This is going to be a wild tournament.
A miraculous heave.
Yes.
A miracle.
That's one of the wildest plays that you would ever see.
Virginia's the guy was in the corner double teamed, and he just tosses it up to the sky. Furman player picks it out.
Throws it back to another guy at the 3-point line.
And he hits a 3-point dagger.
Virginia either wins the championship or they lose to a double-digit seed. So.
That's just the trend for that team, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Up next, we had Utah State, Missouri. Missouri won by 11 fairly easily. So no upset there. And then the next game, Howard and Kansas.
Kansas put their foot down on them.
They won that pretty good, 96-68. So
what do you expect?
Yeah. And then we had Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, Alabama. Alabama beat them by 21.
There's your ticket.
And there's your ticket. Here you go. Bye-bye. Congratulations. Bye.
Get your money and get out of there.
And go. We had the College of Charleston and San Diego State. San Diego State beat them by 6 points. Yeah, it was a closer game than that, really, but they got them by 6. And then here we go. Princeton taking on Arizona.
We're going to talk about Princeton pretty much so during the video.
Yeah, Princeton won 59-55, knocking out Arizona, the number 2 seed.
Out of
there we go.
And this is like the third straight year where a 15's beat a 2, which usually it doesn't happen that much. It's happened each of the last 3 seasons.
So we've had a 13 to win, and now we've had a 15 to win. So a 4 seed, a 2 seed is bye.
Princeton won their conference tournament barely, but they went on a 9-0 run in the last minute of the game to steal it.
Yes, they actually did steal it. They won by 4, and they were down by 5 at the end of the game. They went on a 9-0 run. Arizona just, I don't know if they thought they had it won and iced up or what it was, but
I don't know. You gotta really fall under the pressure to blow a 5-point lead with a minute left.
Yeah, but that's what March Madness is all about. We had Illinois, Arkansas. Arkansas took care of them by 10.
Muscleman in the tournament. Muscleman in the tournament has been a real thing.
He has proven himself to be a pretty good coach there. Yeah, so you better watch out for Arkansas. We had Auburn over Iowa. It was a pretty close game throughout, but Auburn pulled
away at the end.
Yeah.
Bruce Pearl, always a name to watch for come this time of year.
And then we had Oral Roberts, number 12 seed, taking off number 5 seed Duke. Duke whipped them by 23.
And although Max Abmas of Oral Roberts leads the country in scoring, but he couldn't outscore Duke.
No, Duke's just on a different level there for them. Then we had Colgate, the toothpaste, taking on Texas. Texas won by 20.
The Longhorns definitely appreciated that dental visit.
They did. They enjoyed that. We had Boise State, Northwestern. Northwestern won by 8.
Only their second tournament win for the Northwestern Wildcats.
Yeah, they are not a basketball powerhouse normally.
To see them get a tournament win, let alone an appearance.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good, yeah. We had Louisiana Raging Cajuns take on Tennessee. Played them really close. Tennessee had them by 11 at half and only won by 3. Louisiana went on a late run there.
If they made a couple more free throws, and it could have been 60-55 or 60-53.
Yeah, yep.
But it was Tennessee got played hard.
Yeah.
By Louisiana.
Louisiana had a really good inside big man, so that's what that did. But the Vols won out. So on to the round of 32 for Tennessee. We had Northern Kentucky as a 16
Houston
seed.
A little trouble.
Houston had a little trouble with them, though.
But Northern Kentucky went on I could have swore they were in the Egyptian desert with how many shots they were missing in a row. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and etc.
Yeah, but they still kept it to only an 11-point game. But Houston moves on. We had UNC Asheville, UCLA. UCLA beat them by 30. That was a whipping.
Man, that was brutality.
So here's your ticket again. Bye. We had Penn State. Number 10.
Molly-whopped Texas A&M.
Molly-whopped them. 76-59.
They didn't come to just appear.
Points. No.
They wanted to get a piece of this.
They wanted to get a piece of it. We had USC, Michigan State.
Tom Izzo in the tournament is scary.
Tournament Izzo is a different level.
Of tournament level.
Of Izzo. Yes, he is. So they won by 10 over USC.
And when they get on those runs, it seems like barely anything can stop Michigan State during that.
They roll pretty good when they start winning, yeah. We had number 14, Kennesaw State, and number 3, Xavier. Xavier won
squeaking by.
Only 5-point win, but hey, a win's a win in the tourney, whether it's by 30 or by 5.
Or by 1 point.
Or by 1. So Xavier does move on. We had University of California, Santa Barbara, UCSB take on Baylor. Baylor won by 18, so that was fairly easy.
I do love the Gauchos nickname, the Santa
Barbara. I do love the Gauchos. The Gauchos.
That's an awesome nickname. I love that name.
I love that one too, yeah. We had number 12 VCU taking on number 5 St. Mary's.
This
St.
was
Mary's
a sexy upset pick.
Yeah, that was one of them that I thought might happen, but
St. Mary's said Uno reverse.
Yeah, give them the reversal card, and they won by 12. We had Vermont as a 15 taking on number 2 Marquette, 78-61. Marquette won fairly easily.
Vermont's been in each of the last 7 tournaments. Cool fact.
Cool fact.
So they are pretty much a mainstay.
They are a mainstay, which is, hey, come on in and have some fun. And number 11 Pitt made the most of their play-in game and went on to beat Iowa State.
If you notice Iowa State shooting
by
numbers,
18.
Iowa
Iowa State's offense looked like Iowa's football team offense. It was
I'm
pretty
gonna
bad.
have to collect myself a little bit. They shot 22% from the field the whole game.
How much was the 3-point percentage?
9.
They shot 9% from the 3-point range,
half,
and 22 from the field.
They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn.
And they lost by 18, so that's why they lost by 18. They shot 22%.
That was ugly shooting as you'll ever see.
We had NC State, number 11, take on number 6 Creighton. Creighton won by 9. The Blue Jays have a pretty good team, it looks.
Yep, and it's been that way for a while. They're pretty consistent. This
was a nice upset pick, too. Iona at number 4, UConn, but UConn...
the Tournament Huskies, that's also not something you should overlook.
Tournament Huskies and Tournament Spartans are different animals than normal seasons Huskies and Spartans. When they get into the tournament...
They win a lot
of games, so you got to watch out for them, yeah.
UConn is a name to look for.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Iona and names to look for, St. John's is going to look a lot better next year because they took Iona's head coach. Who is Iona's head coach?
Rick Pitino.
Rick Pitino has left Iona and is going to the Red Storm next year.
Do not overlook Rick Pitino.
No. I pick
St. John's
way too early. St. John's to make the tourney next year.
They should.
20-plus wins and a tourney visit next year. How about that?
Yep.
I think that happens. Now we hear, we were talking about FDU earlier, Fairleigh Dickinson. They took on number 1 Purdue and beat them.
Historic.
Only the second time a 16 has ever beat a 1.
I didn't think it would ever happen again.
I didn't think it would happen in the first place, especially not
twice.
Now it's the disparity between the teams is getting
thinner
and thinner
by year,
which just means it's going to be harder and harder and harder to pick these brackets right. Because every year or every 3 years, a 16 could beat a 1 now.
That's exciting.
A 15 has beat a 2 years in a row.
3
years. I mean, what? How do you pick that? I don't know what. How do you? My bracket was going first day, so I can't worry about it. But
I can't undermine the accomplishment that Fairleigh Dickinson had to do to accomplish this game.
It was fantastic.
But Matt Painter, the coach for Purdue, he's got a choking resume.
They've lost 3 tournaments in a row to a double-digit seed.
And he's only made 1 Elite 8. People crap
out of how many years?
18.
So 1 Elite 8 out of 18 years.
That is yikes. And people crap on Barnes, but Matt Painter has that.
Matt Painter's got the dubious, not doing anything with what you got.
He ain't no Bob Ross, you know what I mean.
He ain't painting a pretty picture down there in Purdueville, is he?
You better get it together over there.
We had Providence taking on Kentucky. Kentucky won by 8.
They should have won by more because of the talent level.
Mm-hmm.
I always really don't like John Calipari's coaching style.
No, I'm not much of
It's very primitive.
He's a great recruiter, got great talent, punched some players into the NBA, but
your program has to be better than an NBA factory.
Your team can't be just an NBA factory. You got to win something with all that talent going through, and he doesn't do it.
I mean, goodness gracious.
Yeah. We had the number 14 Grand Canyon taking on Gonzaga. Gonzaga won by 12.
Gonzaga's been a mainstay for as long as I can remember in the tournament.
Me too, yeah. We had Drake, Miami. Miami won by 7. That was a closer game than what you would think it should have been.
But Drake
choked it. Drake should have won it. They were up late,
but
just couldn't hold it.
Just kind of
they went on like a 3 or 4 minute at the end of the game and couldn't. They
basket.
They looked like they dropped back down to middle school level or something. They were bad there, 10. But Miami won it. That's what you want. FAU, Florida Atlantic University taking on Memphis. 66-65. Memphis goes out after beating Houston by 20-something points.
They fall to the Owls.
They fall to the Owls in the very next game. They play.
How do you do on a last-second shot?
Last-second shot.
To that, we will talk about the Owls later too.
Yeah, Penny's crying a little bit, but yeah. We had Montana State taking on K-State. K-State won by 8.
They did their job.
Yeah. K-State probably should have won by more, but Montana State played a pretty good game. We had Arizona State take on TCU. TCU got it by 2 points. Close
on
game.
The last-second shot once again. A lot of these games come down to these.
This has been one of the best tournaments that I've watched in a long time. It was fantastic. We had number 13 Kent State taking on number 4 Indiana. Indiana won that by 11 fairly easily.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And now last we move on to the second round.
Yeah, but think about it. In the first round, we had a 16 make it to the second round. We had a 15.
And a 16.
And a 13.
Make it to the second
round. And an 11. We had 4 double-digit seeds win round 1. That's fantastic. There might have been another one. I lost count there. It might have been 5 double-digit. But that's just fantastic. All right, we'll jump on to round 2. Furman could not hold it together for the next game, and San Diego State beat them 75-52.
San Diego State moves on to only their 4th or 5th, maybe their 5th Sweet 16 as a program.
Ever, yeah, which is really, really good for them. Next, we had Duke on a 10-game win streak, winning by a margin of 13 points on each game on the 13s.
Ran into a brick wall
made out of orange.
Yes.
Tennessee clamped down their probably best defensive game of the year.
Probably the best defensive game I've seen in the last 3 years.
Yeah, their defense is actually ranked the best since '98, I think it was, so about like 25 years.
And we swallowed Duke whole.
Duke had a hard time. Getting through our defense. That's an understatement.
That's really hard time.
Their best player, who was the tall?
Kyle
Filipowski said, "No disrespect to the rest of the teams we played, Tennessee's the best defense we've seen this year." So they were even credited Tennessee after the game. And honestly, Tennessee needed that. Tennessee does and Conway, I got to give great props to Conway. he took it over. He scored, was it 23?
27.
27. So, yeah, I mean, he went in there. Tennessee needs that one player to score 20 to 30 points. And, I mean, even doing that, they only scored 65. So he got 27 of the 65. So Tennessee needs that one. They need to clamp down and get that one good scorer going, and they did it against Duke. I'll say probably the best game they played since they beat Alabama. It was really fun to watch.
Good time to start playing well.
Speaking of a good time to start playing well, Arkansas took on number 1 Kansas.
And Arkansas is mainly a team made of freshmen.
Bye Kansas.
Bye Kansas.
Kansas was like a dark horse of mine to win the title. Them and Alabama. So Arkansas took care of that. Muscle Man is Muscle Man.
He took off his
shirt. Woo! That's
he's the true spirit of Muscle Man.
72-71. Bye Kansas.
And Arkansas will pig Suey into the Sweet 16.
For how many years in a row?
3 straight.
3 straight years in a row. That's the first 3 years of Muscle Man?
Yep.
3 years of Muscle Man, 3 Sweet 16s. Arkansas may have found him a coach.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. We had Princeton, number 15 Princeton taking on number 7 Missouri.
Told you we'd be talking about Princeton.
We'd be talking about Princeton again. 78.
They killed Missouri.
They killed Missouri. It was 78-63.
Oh
it was worse than that.
It
was worse than 15 points. They beat them by 30 points if you just from the eye test.
We should have known. They came from the Ivy League. These guys are smart.
They figured out a way. They figured out a way to play better than Missouri. I know that. They
killed them.
They beat them down good. Speaking of a good beatdown, number 9 Auburn had a lead in the first half, but ended up losing by 17.
Houston pounded them in the second half.
Yeah, Houston just in the second half just outplayed them, just out-talented them. So Houston keeps their number 1 seed. We had number 10 Penn State against number 2 Texas. Texas
Penn State floundered late.
Yeah, they floundered late. They honestly they made it farther than what I thought they would. Penn State must have had a pretty good team this year to come that close.
Penn State's head coach did get snatched up by Notre Dame, so I don't know how long that'll last.
Probably not too much longer. Notre Dame might look a little better next year.
Fairleigh Dickinson also lost their coach.
You knew that was going to happen.
Iona.
You know that was going to happen. Rick Pitino went to St. John's, so Fairleigh Dickinson went to
Iona. So those are the coaching moves. And Ed Cooley, Providence's head coach, off to Georgetown.
So Providence, which was pretty good, went to Georgetown. Who's going to fill up Providence now?
Not to be determined.
Not to be determined yet. All right. We had number 7 Northwestern and number 2 UCLA. UCLA won by 5. That was closer than I thought it should be. Northwestern proved that they were a pretty good team this year too. Then to take UCLA, who's a 2 seed, to just a 5-point game, not too bad. Yep. Number 8 Maryland against number 1 Alabama.
That's better than whatever that was.
That was 22 points. That wasn't even. That was a clobber. Yeah, to beat them by 22 points, crushing. We had number 11 Pitt, made it as long as they could. They went up against the X-Men and lost by 84-73.
Xavier back in the Sweet 16, familiar territory.
Yes, they a few years since they've been there, but
Sean Miller brought them back.
Right back where they should be. And then we had number 6 Kentucky taking on number 3 K-State.
I wonder if how many of these failures John Calipari has in the tournament are starting to pile up.
I don't know. What you told me something that was shocking yesterday that I hadn't realized. John Calipari signed a lifetime contract 5 years ago. How many SEC wins has he had since then?
How many SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament? What's his record?
Yeah, how many wins has he had in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament combined?
2 and 5. That's a win-loss. 2 wins to
He's
5
won
losses.
2 times in 5 years. Once in the SEC tournament.
And once in the NCAA.
And once in the NCAA tournament. So he's got 2 postseason wins.
And you're paying
in
him
5 years.
Max money.
And he's got an $81 million buyout because he has a lifetime contract. Ouch. 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 Ouch.
Credit to Kansas State.
They only made 2. They were 0% shooting 3-pointers at the halftime and only 7% for the game and still won.
John Calipari.
Michigan State took on number 2 Marquette and
Izzo.
March Izzo, dude. March Izzo is a different Izzo.
And when he goes Izzo mode on you,
yeah, he went super Izzo there in the last 10 minutes of the game.
So honestly, pulled him out. Super Saiyan.
Yeah, he was hair flared up and 69-60 took out Marquette. So that was actually a really good, fun game to watch. We had St. Mary's, UConn.
UConn out-talented them.
15-point win. UConn, postseason UConn.
Oh, boy.
Here we go. We had Creighton take on number 3 Baylor.
Controlled the game from the tip.
Told you those Blue Jays were having a pretty good team this year, man. They beat Baylor from the beginning to the end. It wasn't
thorough.
It was a 9-point win, but there was really not much of a contest the whole entire way. It was a really good game. And then we had Fairleigh Dickinson take on Florida Atlantic. Fairleigh Dickinson played them really well, but
Florida Atlantic just overwhelmed them at the end.
78-70. We had Miami taking on Indiana, and Miami beat the doors off of them pretty much too. Won by 16 points, but really more than that.
Yep.
We had TCU Gonzaga. Gonzaga won by
3 points.
But
and,
again, a W is a W.
Their star, Drew Timme, has 9 20-point games in the tournament.
He's sort of carrying them right now, but they're still tournament. Gonzaga is a animal too. All right, let's quickly just slide through the Sweet 16 games here. We got Michigan State, K-State. That one is a tough one to call because K-State's really good, but I'm not going to go against tournament Izzo. You got to pick Michigan State until they lose now. Because the magic is on.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Izzo's magic is
I'm
going
to pick Michigan State.
I got to pick them, too. We got Arkansas, UConn.
You want to pick Muscle
I'm going to pick Arkansas, too. But we got 2 upsets the first 2 games because Arkansas is a different animal, too. And
they're a different pig this time of year.
They are. We got Florida Atlantic, Tennessee. Got to take Tennessee. I think they got the biggest margin of
the biggest margin pick here.
Yeah, they're 5.5. If Tennessee's defense is going to show up, FAU's not going to score 80 against Tennessee. It'll be in the 50s to 60s. Now Tennessee does have to have that one guy to pick it up and score, but I think Tennessee should squeeze them out here. Gonzaga, UCLA.
A rematch.
That's a hard pick right there. That
is
a very
of
hard
that
pick.
epic tournament game years ago.
I'm gonna probably lean Gonzaga just because it's Gonzaga. UCLA is really, really good right now, but I'm favoring Gonzaga.
Gonzaga's 8th straight Sweet 16. They've been here multiple times. They've got a residence here.
We'll jump into the Friday game. San Diego State, Alabama. Don't even have to talk about that one. Miami, Houston.
That one's
Are you feeling Houston?
I'm feeling Houston? Miami.
I'm feeling Miami too. For some reason, I'm thinking another number 1 goes down there. Princeton, Creighton. Blue Jays are surprisingly an altogether good team right now. I haven't paid much attention to them that year, but they've looked really good. Xavier, Texas.
Oh, that's a good matchup.
That's a good matchup too.
Do you want to pick the Horns or the Musketeers?
Probably lean towards Houston a little bit.
You want to listen to Texas?
They've been all around a better team this year than what Xavier has been, but that one I wouldn't be surprised if Xavier wins it. And then that's it. That is all of our picks up to the Elite 8 round, and whenever we get to the Sweet 16, we might throw up some picks for that too. We hope you had a little fun. It's been a day or two since we've been on here. But be sure to like the video, share our video with your friends, hit the like, hit the subscribe.
Hit the groovy baby button.
Hit the groovy baby button. And we'll see you next week. Or next few days or something. Later, I guess.
See you next week.